Hey y'all,
Hey y'all.
What's up? This is El Presidente.
this is
You
your boy, gospel icon, my Harold Peoples Jr.
It's Lady, also known as Leah, and you're now watching.
And you're listening to Speaking Plain
in
English.
the speaking plain English with your host Roberta on
Your beautiful hostess, Roberta Johnson.
With my homegirl, Roberta, on Praise.fm.
On Praise FM.
on Praise FM.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Happy Saturday, and welcome to another episode of Speaking Plain English. My name is Roberta, and I am so happy that you guys decided to join us this afternoon. I always ask you guys to do, first of all, thank you for in advance for doing the liking and the subscribing and the commenting and all those wonderful things that the media stuff that we ask you to do all the time. So with it, once you're here, do us a favor and say hello so that we know that you're here, and that way we can kind of talk back and everything. So before we start with we have an excellent topic today. We have an excellent guest today. And before we get into introducing her, there's a couple of announcements that I want to make just real quick. First, I want to remind everybody that we do ads. If you need an ad run, if you want something done for whether this is for this show or for something else, we do create those. So you can, contact us later. I'll give you all that information later on after the show starts. Or after, like, towards the end. Also, if you would like to be a guest, if you are a Black author, a Black artist, a Black business owner, and you would like to be a guest on the show on Speaking Plain English, don't hesitate to let us know. We're looking for you. And you, as you know, like, that's all of our thing has always been, to support, putting people on. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. All right. So that's that. And if there are is there anyone who has like any announcements that they would like for us to make on the show, whether it's a birthday or an anniversary or the launching of a new business or anything, you just want to shout somebody out, we do that as well. So if you could get those to us, you can email us at doyh.marketing@gmail.com. That's how you can contact us for all those things. We can if you can get that to us by Wednesday, I'll put it like that. I'll say Tuesday. You can get it to us by the Tuesday of the week prior that you want us to have it, to have it aired. Then we can get that taken care of for you, because we love to celebrate. One thing that I love to do on here is I love to celebrate all things. So while we're talking about announcements, I'm trying to think of, I know of one, but I'm trying to think if there's any other birthdays that we had this week, which I don't think we have. So the only one that I know of is my best friend, who actually is part of the reason why Speaking Plain English is even here. Corey, Gypsy Simpson, happy Earth Entry Anniversary, Grand Central Earth Entry Anniversary to you, Mister. And that is all that I have for today. So, without further ado, we are going to get into our topic. I am going to bring our guest on. Her name is Dominique Wells. And matter of fact, before I bring her on, let me tell you a little bit about this young lady here, who is a phenomenal woman. Again, like I said, her name is Dominique Wells, and she's an entrepreneur and financial advisor. While she does have a role in corporate America as a customer service manager, She says that her ultimate goal is to work exclusively in finance and to be that go-to resource for people looking to make positive change and plan for their financial future. Technically, to be the finance lady, if you will. She's already run a successful business, providing clients with personal and professional virtual assistants. And actually, she's taught me to do the same. So some of what I do, I've learned from her. So when I tell y'all she's amazing at what she does. And she takes a lot from the experience that she has. As she continues to study money and hone in her skills in finance with plans customized for each individual client, she's confident that her love for finance and love for people will impact, reach, and change lives for the better. And that is her purpose in the earth. So without further ado, I am going to bring to the stage my girl, Dominique Wells. Say hello,
hello. Hi, hey Roberta. Thank you so much
girl.
for having me.
Thank you for taking the time. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today because girl, you are the goats. You are the goat, honey. When it comes to all things, that's why I named this All Things Finance, because I've learned so much from her, and there's still so much more that we have yet to learn. So I'm so glad to be able to have us chat with you today, because y'all get some paper and pen and get ready to take some notes, because y'all gonna learn some things today.
Ooh. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Roberta. I appreciate you and what you're doing, speaking plain English, bringing on a bunch of topics. Like, I love it. I love it. I love what you're doing, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yay! All right, so let's get started. So just before we get into talking about what you do and things like that, tell us a little. We did read your bio, but just tell us a little bit more that we didn't get to in your bio about you.
Well, I'm a skater, and by skater I mean roller skater. You know, those 4 wheels, dancing, disco kind of vibe. Yep, that's me. There you go, that roll bounce. Yes. But yeah, no, I'm definitely like I love to just like be among people out there skating, having fun, all of that. I'm a pretty social person. People give me energy, and I really just enjoy, like, outside of helping people, just dealing with people, loving on people, all of that. I'm a mom of 1. My son, he is amazing, and yeah, he's like such a joy. And yeah, I'm in a relationship and all of that stuff, and learning how to just love and combine lives together, all of that good stuff. And yeah, I guess that's like the personal version of me outside of the business, is like the down to earth Dominique.
Definitely. I'm going to tell you something that you didn't know.
Okay.
So we have she created a group. She created a group that we call the Black Resources Thread. And I mean, when I was invited to the group, and I mean, first of all, I love everything about it. I have to tell you that I love everything about that. But there was a time when we first initially met. Before actually, she messaged me and she said, "I want to know a little bit more about this Roberta, the amazing Roberta." And I'm like, okay, is she being sarcastic?
Oh God, no.
Because being honest, I'm not really used to people being as bubbly as you are and as authentic as you are. And so that kind of took me, I want to say it kind of took me, I'm like, wait a minute, because I'm cautious with people, and I don't get close to people that easily. But after like having the conversation and being able to kind of like, grasp who you are as a person, you know what I mean? Like, when I tell you, this girl, she's something else. She's something else. She's so dope. Really, really. And I wouldn't say that unless I meant it, honestly and truly.
Oh my gosh, Roberta, you are just warming my heart right now. Wow. Thank you so much.
It's the truth. All right, so let's get started. So first of all, let's talk about what exactly was it that got you started in financial services?
Oh, oh my gosh, this story is like a long story, so I'm gonna try to give you like this abridged version.
All
But
right.
from the time that I was 9, like let's start back there. But no, quickly from around that age, I actually was like obsessed with finances. It's like, what are you as a kid thinking about like finances for? Sometimes my dad would want to buy me something, and I'm just like, no, it's fine. You go ahead and use that money towards the bills. And he would be like, we're good, like we're fine.
Love
um
it.
and it's not that I felt like things were scarce, but I did just have this sensitivity to money, and happy to delay my own gratification, for like this bigger goal, like paying the bills or something like that. And nobody asked me to do that. And then I started to like have shoe boxes with everybody's name on it. And I'm like, all you have to do is put money in the box. Don't worry about it. I'll manage the money. And so I would just have it underneath my bed and have people just like, I would just go up to like one of my family members. It was five people, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. And I would just go and say, hey, you have anything you want to contribute to your bank today? And they would give me like 5 here, 10 there, 20 here, whatever like they had on them. And then what would happen is they would turn around and need something and be like, hey, like, how much do I have in the bank? And I would be like, I'm not going to tell you how much you have. Just tell me how much you need. And
Mm.
then kind of that idea of managing their finances in that way at that young, maybe 10, 11 age was just near and dear to me. I enjoyed that so much. Eventually they all, withdrew their accounts. They were like,
I love that.
yeah. So that's like how I started just, and um all from like everything that I've done kind of in my life has kind of led me to this point about which is just being about finance. And I have to give a shout out to Kasim, who I know you had on this show, Mr. L
Yes, you did. Yes.
financial advisor himself. He and I had a conversation, and he just saw something in me that I didn't necessarily see in myself.
Mm.
But he's just like, you're already doing people's budgets, like you're already in everybody's like personal to-dos and tasks and business and paperwork and all of that stuff. It's just like you have a trust and relationship because you're a trustworthy person, you know how to do a budget. It's like take it to the next level. And after that conversation, I decided to study finance and sit for my exams and do the whole shebang. So
Yes.
I have an exam coming up, actually, my series 7. So woo,
Okay.
we
And
are,
that's for investing, yes?
say again.
Is that about investing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I would be able to be a stockbroker if I wanted to, or just talk to people about their finances, tell them about trading stocks and bonds, and different securities, annuities, the whole 9 yards, and managing their portfolio if I wanted to. So, yes.
So as y'all see already, and this is a love that she's had since she was 9. That's so rare, and it's a beautiful thing because 9-year-olds, they're all about, hey, can you give me this? Can you give me that? Can you give me? And she's over here like, oh, and you know what? Actually, I think that you should take this money and do what what needs to be done with it. And not only that, but how about y'all give me some of yours and I'll hold on to and actually do that at this young age. So, girl, that
Yeah.
tells you that tells you right there that this is something that you was instilled in you, that was instilled in you. I would like to say from conception, from birth.
Yeah.
So to know that you've been in this thing and doing this as a love, as a passion for that long, that right there, that alone tells you, and those who may be interested in making you their financial advisor, that they're in good hands, so y'all, like I said, we're going to get into some nuggets, and I want y'all to make sure that, because we're going to have her information scrolling in a little bit, because you guys are going to want to book her. hire her. After hearing what we have to say, what she has to say today, you're gonna want to hire her. Trust. All right. So the next question is like, what type of what are the different types of financial advice that you would offer?
Well, I think that in our communities in particular, like we don't talk enough about finances because we don't know enough about finances. So one of the things that I would inform people of is, listen, we aren't guaranteed anything in retirement. Just that, for example, right? We're all like, oh, I'm going to have my pension, or I'm going to have my 401k, or I'm going to have Social Security. And it's just like, as the world is changing and inflation is happening, there's like limited amounts of money that is going to be available to people. And we've heard about people losing their pensions, like probably over the years. And so I would just say, like, be prepared. That would be the key thing that I would tell people. Don't assume and don't trust. I'm not saying don't trust the government. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying don't trust. Don't trust anything that is not in your immediate control, something that you're contributing to, something that you've created for yourself or your family, a fund, a plan, an insurance policy, whatever that might be. So this is the kind of advice I would give people. Like, what do you have that's going to set up your next generation? What do you have in place that's going to like have a perpetual effect so that your kids don't have to start from the bottom as well, just like most of us did. And shout out to our parents who did what they can, but now that we know better, we need to do better. And then of course, like managing your finances and your budget along the way, so you have disposable income to make certain choices that maybe our parents didn't have the ability to make.
And I'm glad that you mentioned well, one of the things that you said in the very beginning is that honest, and just being honest, like a lot of us in our community, we didn't know a lot about how finances actually work. That was actually just like Wall Street and things like that, so that you're getting into stocks and bonds and things like that, that was considered a white man's world. And
Yep.
so that's why a lot of I'm also glad that you're using, if you're talking about budgeting and things like that, because it's interesting how a lot of us in our community, we have a tendency to want to splurge so much. You know what I mean? We have a tendency to want to show people per se what we have, when in all honesty, you really don't have to do that. You don't have to go out, and I'm not saying that it's not it's not okay to go get luxury items and things like that. That's all well and good, but that doesn't necessarily mean, that doesn't have to be your proof per se, that you actually have money. It's, if you look at though the wealthy, they actually don't spend as much as as we think, and they don't flaunt things. They use,
Right.
they have their assets. They make investments,
Yep.
and that's something that I think that we as a people need to adopt and to get used to, and even teach our kids. And
Absolutely.
because, man, if we my dad and two of my cousins and even my brother, they actually used to work at the stock exchange, and the stories that they have, oh my goodness. One of them actually came on, shout out to my cousin Tommy, and he talked to us about the book that he wrote,
Mm.
called The Black on the Wall, and that was about his experience with being on Wall Street. So, and it was unheard of, it was unheard of to have so many, to have any Black people actually working on the floor. So that's something that I think that it's very important for us to have, and for the knowledge that, for us to have, and to use as we get older, because like you said, you never know that the way that the government is going and the way that money, the economy is now, if there's anything left. Like we used to think that, 401k plans and pensions and, all of these things, that that Social Security, it used to be like, well, we'll have that when we get older, when we retire. But who's to say that there's going to be any of that by the time we get of, a retiring age, let
Yep.
alone our kids. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean, the 401k, yes, like you're going to hold on to that you're putting money in that, but like Social Security and pensions and stuff like that are kind of like this entity that depends on the business or the government. Yeah, it's hard to rely on that when we've seen what happens over the years. I mean, look at the retirement age. It keeps going up, up, up. By the time it's time for us to retire, it's going to be like 70.
Right.
70, and I am not working till 70. Like, it's not happening. I don't want any of my... It's so crazy that I see older people working, like in whatever, like in a restaurant or something, or like someone who's serving me, a waitress, and she is like my mom's age or older and not retired. And it literally breaks my heart. And this
And
is...
they do it because they have to, not because they just want something to do.
Yeah. I mean, and some people are like, oh, they're probably just trying to keep busy. I would not wake up at 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning to keep busy. Let me go on and take a little vacation, pick up painting, like babysit some grandkids, just not work no job as a waitress. So,
It's funny when did you mention that? Because some people do things for different reasons. My dad, who's been retired, how many years has he been retired? He's been retired for a good while, but he decided that because he can't sit still, he's another me. Well, I guess I'm where he gets it. Yeah, there we go. Or he's where I get it from. There we go. So, I mean, what he does is he works as a cleaner. Like, he's a pastor as well, but he works delivering clothes for cleaners. And he's not doing it because he has to. He's doing it because, one, it's something to do, because he's also a hunter, and also because he likes to help people. And the person that he that owns the business asked him, for help. But I'm like, Dad, sometimes I think you might need to sit down because you're doing too much. He does so much. So I hear you to see people, and he's in his 70s. He's in his early 70s. So to see people,
yeah. Sorry, no, I was just gonna say I love that. I love that he made that choice. So that's the important part. Like, that choice in it. It's like, I'm gonna just help out my homie, or I'm gonna just help out my friend because they asked me to. Not, he didn't have to put out no resume or go sit on any interview. It's just like, I'm gonna help out because I have the time on my hands. I love that.
Exactly. And that's the difference. That is the difference have between, when you retire and you don't have anything in your retirement fund, so you have to work in order to, make ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
Then just saying, you know what, I think I'm going to do this just because this is what I want to do. I want to keep busy, so this is what I choose to do. So before we go any further, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to go to commercial, and we will be right back, people.
Calling all independent gospel and inspirational artists, Praise Fest, Jacksonville, Florida. I'm coming home.
This is going to be an evening of healing and praise.
Nephew, if they only knew our story.
Auntie, which is why Jacksonville does not want to miss this.
Join us Friday, February 23rd, 2024
at Greater Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, Callahan, Florida.
Meet us there.
This is the golden mic that everybody loves.
Let's go. Sorry.
I love Jesus. I worship and adore you.
Ready and I'm ready. Yeah.
Come over here.
I'm here. You.
Everybody went on mic.
All right, and we are back. We are back. Thank you guys for tuning into those commercials. I want you to kind of take for those, as you saw, those of you who may be gospel or inspirational artists that want to be a part of Praise Fest that Praise FM is having. Oh my goodness, I forgot to say hello to my Praise Fest family. I'm so sorry, y'all. But if those who are interested, if you are an independent artist, if you are a gospel or independent artist, not independent, inspirational artist, and you would like to go be a part of Praise Fest, which they're going to have, like they saw in Florida, they're going to be in Vegas, they're going to be in I think they're going to the Bahamas again. They're going to be in Jamaica. They're going to tour. So go ahead and let us know. Leave us a comment, and then we'll get you everything that you need to know, all the information that's needed for that. So back to this conversation that we are having. I want to ask you guys, like, I want to know if you guys are enjoying what you're hearing so far and if you've gotten anything out of it. So if you have, leave us a comment and let us know. All right. So Dominique, leave us a comment. Dominique, while we have you here, I want to know, what would you consider the most complicated part of managing finances, whether it be personal or business?
That is a good question. I would say when it comes to personal finances, it's just like, actually, let me put it like this. When it comes to finances in general, you have this income, this money coming towards you that you're thinking, what can I do with it sometimes? You're not necessarily saying, where can I put it where I can no longer access it or see it? So that idea of spending is really hard to get over. Impulsive buying and all of this kind of stuff, or misappropriation of funds, even, it's very tempting to do the wrong things with money, as opposed to the right things, which require delayed gratification. Like, okay, I can't take this vacation now, but I'll take it later, or I shouldn't buy this new car now, I'll do it later. So I think between personal, like, finances, especially personal finances, that's one of the things I find that people just really struggle with, is just making decisions for their money to let their money go make more money. But instead they're just using their money, which is why we have stats like, in our community, dollars don't stay in. Like, it takes 6 hours before our dollar escapes our community and goes into another person's hands. So we have to, like, really think, how can we break that cycle? And some of that has to do with managing that personal and business finance. Now, business finance is a little different because you're supposed to be using it for business purposes or putting it to the side for business. The problem with the managing of business finances, I find, is people are not recording it. People are getting paid in cash. People are getting, kind of these random occurrences of like, oh, I got a gig or I got a job or whatever the case might be, they aren't tracking it. So if you're not tracking something, then you can't know what's happening with it. And when you look at your bank account and you're like, what happened to all my money? It's like, well, you weren't tracking the incoming and the outgoing. And so you don't really manage it accurately. Most of the time, I'll say. There's some people who do, but I find that I've worked with many clients who are like, I'll do it later. Kind of.
So let me ask you, as far as that goes, because you did bring up a good a point with, there are some people who get paid in cash, like if they have, like you said, some are doing gigs, and those who are getting tips and things like that. Yep. What would you say is the best way, or what you found is the best way for them to keep track of what is not digital?
Honestly, a spreadsheet will do the job. Like, because it's not being recorded, right? So when it comes to personal finance, we have bills. So people are like sending us invoices or sending us, bills to pay, sending us links or whatever. And then it comes out of the account, or you have some ACH payments going out. That's easier to track, right? Because you're like, oh, okay, I can just look through my bank records. Business, like, especially when you're a cash business or something like that, I mean, you have to use a spreadsheet because there's no other way to track that. And a spreadsheet sounds really simple, but it gets the job done.
So for those would you recommend like putting that into, like, the cash that they get into an account immediately, or allocate? Like, how do you suggest the best thing to do as far as holding this, and I mean, I may be getting it a little bit into your secrets.
That's fine.
But like you're spending, what's to spend and what needs to be put away.
Okay, so I would say that you need to have multiple accounts. That's first. Having one account that everything happens from is another way to kind of lose track of what needs to happen. You can have a operating account, which is the account that you do the most daily transactions inside and out of. Okay, let me answer the first part of your question. Where do you put your cash? Yes, like you need to put it into an account. Please don't put it under your mattress. Please don't stick it in your cabinets. That is not an appropriate place for money to go. And banks, keeping it in the banks is not even the best use of it necessarily. Like there's other things, there's other financial instruments that can grow because they're attached to securities in the market. But at least have an account because you do not want to lose any of that money or misappropriate those funds. So back to what I was saying, having an operating account, that's your daily back and forth transactions that you need to do. If you need to purchase something for your business, you're doing it from that account. Then you can have a separate account that's for taxes because you're going to have to pay something. So as a business, you need to be kind of prepared if you're going to owe something in taxes. Instead of scrambling to find those taxes during tax season, you put that away. So if you made $100, put 40 in the tax account and keep 60 in your operating. And then you can have other accounts, whether it's investments account, like profit accounts and all of that kind of stuff, the payment accounts, if you have to do payroll, if you need to pay yourself. But I mean, most importantly, have an operating account that's different from your savings account, that's different from your taxes account, just as like this up and coming small business. And then as you get larger, you have what you're doing payroll from and what you're doing investing from and all of that sort of stuff.
So a lot of what you just mentioned, some of those things you've talked about, I'll put it like that on your YouTube channel, which is brings it up, segues to our next question, which I love. Tell us about your YouTube channel, if that's called.
It's my name, Dominique Wells, but I do episodes called Make Sense, Make Sense.
And I want you to like what the way that she did, like the hand gestures, that it just makes so much. It's so cool. So it's like makes sense, and I'm like, that makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm. And we also trying to make sense.
A bit about what they're exactly, because we want our sense to make sense and vice versa. So to go into a little bit of what people will find on that, and what you plan to do with it.
Sure. Thanks. Like my YouTube channel is like this heart project of mine that I started, and I just wanted to start like with fun and finance because I find that the conversations around finance are like super stressed or like super taboo sometimes. So it's like, let's break away from that. Let's kind of have conversations. Let's talk about some controversial things. Let's change the game a little bit, but do it with fun and lightheartedness. So like I might say something like, you should have a toy swap instead of buying your kids toys. And it's just like, and people are probably like, girl, what? But yeah, it's just to kind of shake the game up a little bit. Like we've been doing one thing one way for so long, and I just want to talk about finance and the things that kind of go on in my head. And as for the future, oh my gosh, I can't wait to like kill the channel with like amazing content that's super valuable to people around, whether it's taxes or investments. When I was studying finance and sitting for the 2 exams that I've taken so far out of the 3, I was realizing how much of a knowledge gap I myself had. And so just doing a series on what are options, what are stocks and bonds, how can you get started, with your own like investment journey, and what is an annuity, and how do you go from being just like this, entrepreneur to like leveling up? Because I'm on that journey as well. So I'm just going to talk about it as I go through it, and I'm looking forward to that for sure.
What I love about what's on there so far, and I want all of you, who to take a moment and then just go check out her channel. It's very entertaining, first of all, and they're not long. The episodes are not long, and they're so entertaining. And just like the whole toy swap thing that so just to give like a brief synopsis of that particular episode, I believe it was around the Christmas season.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about different ways to, have the season without breaking the bank and without going into debt. And some of the different ways, one of the ways that she was saying is, hey, why don't you, you get some moms or some parents that and swap toys, and so take a toy that your kid doesn't use anymore, won't even miss, and swap it with somebody else, so that way you don't have to spend money on new toys, but the kid thinks that you know what I mean. And I'm like, I don't know, at the same time, that's not yeah. So
Yeah.
you'll find things like that, and you'll find like how she just simplifies things, such as, which we're going to go into, budgeting. So and that's one of her areas of expertise. You've heard her speak about it earlier. What is the best way that you would say, Dominique, is to do a monthly budget?
Ooh, girl, I swear by a zero-based budget. So basically what that means is that you assign your money a role, whether it's bills, that amount of money goes to bills, whether it's vacation, that amount of money goes to vacation, and it's just a line item for you. So when you get your income, everything has an actual job, right? You got to put your money to work in a way. And what I usually call this is like allowances. So everything gets an allowance. The bills, like I said, and maybe even the people in your household, yes, they get an allowance too. Yourself, you get an allowance as well. Like, zero-based budgeting is probably going to be the best way to do it. So month to month, you look through your statements of what you spent, but actually, let me make this a lot easier for you. Once you get started with a zero-based budget and you have an allowance, you can stop looking at your pay statements or like your bank statements or your bills, because you've already assigned the bills in your life an allowance, and you know how much it is month to month. So you really have to do one budget, and that is your monthly spend. And then you give yourself an allowance, and it doesn't even matter if you go blow it and party with it or whatever you want to do. If you say my allowance is $200 a week, you don't have to even think about it. So at that point, the budget is kind of running itself, because you're putting money in the places that they need to go versus trying to do a budget every single month. Does that make sense?
It does, actually. And it makes it a lot easier, because a lot of times what some may find is they're using everything and they're spending it on, they don't even think about giving ourselves an allowance and everything having pretty much its place. So that's having something to look forward to. And that, I think that's what ends up how people end up splurging, on things they really can't afford per se, because it's like, listen, I'm sacrificing this, that, and the third because I deserve this. So if you yourself, if you have that in mind, where you're like, okay, I'm going to have this for me anyway, then it'll kind of prevent that. So let me ask you this question. And I'm asking because this is like we talked about, the economy is as ridiculous as it is, where people are actually having trouble like maintaining household, things and, just living. And one thing that my dad, I remember but my dad used to say when we were younger is that if you have something, if you have anything coming in, there's a way to manage it. And so what would you say, how would you say that would work for people who are, in the red, for the most part each month, or, are, what I'm saying, living paycheck to paycheck and like still want to, are having trouble maintaining, but still want to, invest and still want to have something to do for themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question because a lot of us are not starting off with a surplus. But a lot of that has to do with financial management and stewardship. So the first thing I would say is really take account of how much is coming in, which is easy, right? We probably get a paycheck, it's a certain number, but also take account of how much is going out on a regular basis because you need to know where your money is going. That's the most important beginning. Know where your money is going. Because once you know where your money is going, then you can make decisions about it. If you realize, oh, I spent $150 on takeout this week, it's just like, whoa. Now that's something that you can slow down by cooking, right? And then you don't have to have that massive expense that you don't realize is happening when you're walking and you're just buying something. You're like, I gotta eat. You do have to eat, but there are better ways to do that. So because you're still also probably buying some groceries or something like that. But even if you're not, groceries are going to cost a lot less over the same amount of time. You can buy groceries that'll last you 2 weeks versus the meal that you're just eating for $15 in that one day. So knowing where your money is going is the first start. And then once you know, you can again make decisions about it. So you can decide to cut back on, like I said, takeout. Maybe you do inventory of the subscriptions that you have. Every time I do my budget, I'm like, how am I even subscribed to this still? And I have to go cancel some subscriptions that got past me. It's like the money is just going out and you're like, what happened? Why can't I see my paycheck at the end? And that's because like your money is not assigned a thing. Now, when you give yourself an allowance, you start to exercise control over the rest of your finances by saying, hey, my money has a job to do. I'm going to put it over here so it can do its job. I'm going to take this amount and be cool with it. And if you want to do something fancy, then maybe it'll take you 2 weeks of that allowance to go and do that thing. You got to live with that. But essentially, you'll start to come up. You'll start to have those changes. And last but not least, credit card debt is killer because it's something that keeps taking from you and you're trying to keep your credit score good. So you're going to be paying it. The interest is high. It's like, it's a little,
Yeah.
I don't want to call it sketchy and I don't want to call it scammy. Obviously, you're paying for the convenience of using credit, but really and truly, by the time you look back and your credit cards are higher and the income isn't there and all of that stuff, it starts to work against you. There's a sweet spot when it comes to credit. And a lot of us have far surpassed that sweet spot. It's not sweet no more. Okay. So that's another thing. Getting that credit card debt down. And I know people are like, who wants to pay? Like who wants to do that? Yeah,
But
I know.
it's necessary and it's part of life.
It's necessary. And that's how you get better with your finances until you just climb yourself out of a hole.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. I love it. See, it's not as hard. It takes some work. It definitely takes work and discipline.
Mm-hmm.
That's the word. It's work and discipline. But it can be done. It may take longer for some, but it is something that it is attainable. So before we get into talking about taxes, we're going to take another break and we'll be back very shortly.
when music and football team up. It kicks off the ultimate inspiration celebration.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
The 25th anniversary of Super Bowl Soulful Celebration, formerly Super Bowl Gospel Celebration, is coming to Las Vegas in February 2024 and will be bigger than ever. The rebranded Super Bowl Soulful Celebration remains the highest Nielsen-rated inspirational show on all broadcast or cable television. And now your favorite musical event is now a year-round content brand.
Super Bowl Soulful Celebration.
Suit up and prepare to join the Super Bowl Soulful Celebration team. One of the most watched sports and music televised specials is now headed to become one of the biggest inspirational entertainment brands. Game on.
All right, and we are back. So, as we know, it's tax season. Well, pretty much, we're almost there. We're entering tax season, so we are going to talk a little bit about taxes because one of Dominique's the services that she also does is she's a tax preparer. So, let me ask you, like, what do you think is the best way to attack filing taxes?
Preparation. I it's like everything I'm saying is like it requires you to do a little bit of work. Yes. But one of the things that can just help you have just an easier time doing what you need to do is collecting all those documents that you get in the mail, collecting all the receipts that you need to collect, or just having like a place to, a drawer for tax season. So you have all your records, everything that you need there. So I think preparation is key, because how do you know what expenses you had if you never tracked it? How do you know what you can write off and all of that? How do you know, like, if you're going to get a return or if you're going to owe? So all of this kind of like preparation is key. And that's even preparing from the time you fill out your like W-4 for your job, and when you get your W-2 back, the federal tax withholding, all of that stuff, where you're putting your money throughout the year. Like, is it tax deferred or is it taxable income? Like, people are taking their income and doing things with it to help sometimes lower their tax bracket. So I think just figuring out from a tax professional, or I don't know, Chat GPT, like, what do I do to make sure that when it comes to tax season, I'm not paying a lot of taxes, or like I'm prepared for what lies ahead.
So what would you think are some misconceptions about tax filing?
I mean, TurboTax, I'm not here to knock them or anything like that. But what I will say is, like, you put in your numbers and you get back a return. You don't know whether this return would have been your best return. All you know is that it's a return if you got something back, or if you owe something, it's like, it's just what I owe. And you just get used to that. Dealing with like a tax preparer, they get to sometimes see like what might be hurting you in this situation, and it's worth having a conversation about. It's your money, right? So doing it yourself, we're kind of do it ourselves kind of people, but having a conversation, just even a conversation, is going to be worth it. And then having somebody look and check your work, that's probably worth it too. You get a free quote and say, oh, when I put it in the TurboTax, this is what I got. And when I did it with you, this is what I got. Like, what is it here that is the difference? Why did you get me more money? Or why don't I owe as much as I thought I was going to owe? And just educating ourselves about it is going to be really important. So sorry. One misconception though is that like you just write off everything, like everything. If you put a bunch of crazy expenses inside of any tax tool, eventually you'll, like, everything has a sweet spot. You'll that sweet spot starts to go away and it starts to hurt you. You're like, oh, I had a business and I spent like $40,000. You made 50. How did you, what are you doing? And so not only do you start to miss out on some of the benefits and some of the money, and now you're like, oh, I didn't make that much this year, get back that much this year. So you not only miss out on that, but you can also get flagged by the IRS because they're like, I don't know how you lived on $10,000, but we're about to call you and ask. So you do not want them letters from the IRS like audit time.
You need more.
It's like you lived on $10,000. Ooh, whoa! So money, you hiding money somewhere, whatever it might be. But that's a misconception. It's like you think just let me just claim everything, and that'll give me my best return. That's not necessarily true.
So pretty much in a nutshell, because you called the name of my beloved TurboTax, but the thing is that I never thought about is that every year I'm like, okay, listen, I got something back and it looks nice, so I'm gonna leave it there, not realizing that sitting down with a professional, with an actual tax preparer, they can they have you guys ask the questions, and you look for specific things that may be able to be like, oh, do you know that you can count this, and you can write this off, and don't even worry about this, asking all of the personal questions that you wouldn't necessarily get by doing it using filing software. So you sold me on that. I just want you to know. Honestly, you sold me. Real talk. Real talk. And I've always done since I was old enough to work, 14, 15 years old, working at McDonald's. I've always done my own taxes. And I always thought like, well, this is easy. All I have to do is input, the numbers and stuff like that. And listen, I can't think of, but there was 1 year that I owed, but that wasn't my fault. Anyway, we're not going there. But, so this would be something different. And I never thought about it that way, to where, you actually have a human being that's actually going to sit with you and go over things with you and help you to get the best, the best bang for your buck, per se. Absolutely. Yep. I'm coming to see you. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And I have one more for you. Say that again.
I have one more for you.
Yes.
Another misconception is that, if you're working with a CPA, for example, like you just give them your stuff and like you just don't have to think about it. I would say like reassess. Like, does your CPA know that you just started a business, or you just gave him your regular documents that you usually get? Does your CPA like take your expenses into account? And like, it's like your best bet is to shop around sometimes and not necessarily just be like, this is my family CPA that I'm just gonna go with just because they're busy. Like, they're not gonna come and sit with you and ask you any questions necessarily. So I want somebody who's like, I'm a tax preparer. I'm not being bogged down with a whole load of additional things like just business things that come with certain CPA shop, mom and pop shops, different things like that. But just even if you're not going with somebody like myself, or even if you're not going through TurboTax, just make sure you continue to have that conversation with your CPA or professional to make sure that they're up to date.
That makes sense, because there can be things that get missed because of the busy work in a nutshell. Got it. So, because you've convinced me, and I'm sure that there are others that are like, oh, what's my information and stuff? What can people look forward to with having you as their tax preparer and their financial advisor altogether?
Yeah, I would say I am non-judgmental. That's number one, because we're all on a path and we're all at different stages along the path. I don't ever want anybody to be scared to be honest. Like, be honest. Let me help you get to the next level. Let me help you move your financial journey forward. And just like, let's do it together. I am honest as well, just in general and in my business dealings. And so I want people to know, like, you wouldn't have to worry. I'm not about to do something crazy. I'm here to make sure that there are no questions asked beyond what what our conversation is going is about, right? The IRS isn't coming back, and if they come back, that we have like the proof that we need or whatever the case might be. I think as a financial advisor, my goal is always to just make sure that people have enough information to make the best choices for their life.
And that's what we want. That's what we need. And as her saying that she's an honest person, I can attest to that for sure. Like, I'm telling y'all, know me. I'm not going to tell y'all. I am not going to tell y'all something that I do not believe to be true. And working with Dominique and actually learning from her as well, being a student of hers, I can, like, just her work ethic, number one, and her expertise level, and how diligent she is, and just how very, very careful she is with people, because people have trusted her with their bank account information. I mean, like, with paying their bills, like, people have given her their social security numbers and all that, like, personal information, and you can't get that from everybody. So, and everybody is not going to, they're not going to be willing to give people information like that and trust them with that unless she's been tested and tried and true. And I'm honestly, like, I'll vouch for it. I vouch for it. So you're definitely going to get the absolute best with working with Dominique. I guarantee you. So we're going to not break before a second, because we one of the newer things that Speaking Plain English is doing is we're going to have a little fun. So we're going to play a game that I call, and shout out to Terrell Rice. I didn't seal this song association. It's not song association, but I kind of got this kind of idea from Terrell Rice in a nutshell, but kind of tweaked it a little bit and made it my own. So those of you who may have watched the Terrell show, y'all know that the way that his thing works is he gives you a word and you have to, sing a song that has either the word in the title or in the lyrics. You ain't gotta do that. Okay. That's not the same thing. So this is called You Remind Me. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you 3 words. We'll do 3. And I just want you to give me the first first song that comes to mind. Just when you think about it, okay? And since we're talking, all things finance, first word is money. I'll make it a little easy at first.
Yikes. Well, 2 songs came to mind because the first one seemed less appropriate, but money. That I think it was the Rihanna song, like, better have my money.
No, money. Don't act like you forgot.
Yes, that is
the other one that you would say, money. That was the first one that came to mind. The second one I thought of was can you pay my bills? Can you pay my telephone bills? Can you pay my audible? You know what? I have an opinion about that song. It's your bill. Why do you want him to pay it? We're not going there today, though. Like,
no, I hear you.
But it ain't ever.
We're not going there today. She said, "Can you?" It was a question. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It is your bills. Like, manage your money, honey.
Yours. Can you pay yours? Who was paying him before he came? That's the question. So that was the first word. All right. So the next word we're going to use is friendly.
Friendly. Friendly.
Now I gotta think of something.
Friendly. That's
Remember, it doesn't have to have the word in the song. It's just the first one that comes to mind when you hear the word friendly.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. We can't be friends. We can't be friends. 'Cause I'm still in love with you. You know, don't let me.
I went by mother's.
So good.
Oh
Gosh, classic. That's a good one.
No business. Even how old was I when that song came out? I think I might have still been in high school.
Let me tell you, like half the songs we were singing, we ain't had no business singing. For real. Okay.
I'm gonna keep it like because I know my mom was gonna be watching, so it's too late now. I'm older now, so I grew up in a household, and I've mentioned this several times on the show that we were not able to play anything in the house except gospel, Stevie Wonder, and Michael Jackson. But I'm trying to. I know that after school one day, where was mommy? I think she was in the room or in the bathroom or somewhere. I put on was it MTV Jams? Not MTV, BET, something. It was some kind of BET video something. And I turned the volume all the way down.
Oh man. I hear you on that. I grew up in the same way. Is that my mom would be like, turn on that bugger music. And then just be like, it's a beat. Like it's a beat. Just whatever it was gospel, it was don't play that in here. And it, you know, when you get older, it would be like, you don't have no headphones for that. Like, I respect you. Like, you right.
You right. So that was one of the songs that I used to love between that one. And I used to act it out and everything.
Oh my gosh.
And then as soon as I hear, that's why she would be upstairs. As soon as I heard some footsteps, flip.
Yep.
Ma, I love you. I promise. I promise I love you. So one more word. Window.
What did you think of?
Because of the song that just came to mind, and I'm like,
What was it?
I'm not gonna tell you until you tell me.
Okay, all right. Window.
Okay, here's another one.
I feel like there's a TLC song that talks about windows that I'm trying to think of. Underneath my window pane. Dang, I can't remember. Windows. Open the window. That's the floodgates. Open the floodgates. Oh man. Okay.
Open the floodgates. Listen, if that's what came to mind.
It's either that one or whatever one that I couldn't remember. It's from like TLC.
Are you sure you're not talking about Waterfalls?
Could be. Clearly, windows means rain. I don't. Yeah. But I'm telling you, somebody said underneath my window pane. That has to be a line of some sort.
It is. Oh my goodness. I know exactly what song you're talking about. I'm the human jukebox. I'm supposed to know this.
Window.
No, don't Google it.
Okay. I put it down. I didn't do it.
I'm gonna tell you what came to mind. The first one that came to mind was to the window.
Mom, that's not a good one.
Oh my
That's
God. And
such a
then
good one.
I can't stand the rain.
That I feel like I was there. I feel like and then yeah.
Wait a minute, yes. And like the window, something like that. Actually, I think it's the original of where that came from. That says
Okay.
something about the window underneath the window. I know what song you're talking about. It's gonna come to me later. It's gonna come to me later.
Yeah.
But that game, guys. I'm gonna text you. It's like 5:00 in the morning, or maybe even 3, when it comes to mind, and all of a sudden, listen, you don't have to.
No, I'll take it. I want to know too. I'm like, I'm not crazy.
No, there is one, and it's right there. It's right here, and it's just decided not to come all the way and out of here. But I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out, guys. Dominique, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time and for your knowledge and everything that you've given us so far, all of the expertise. And people, I'm going to put her information here so that you guys can hit her up, follow and subscribe, go to her YouTube channel, hit her up and book her for, some financial services. And if you have any questions or anything like that, like I said, tax season is coming up. And as we already heard, it's probably a good idea, if nothing else, to, get a quote.
Mm-hmm.
Get a quote and see how, she can help you with in ways that you may not have even known that you've done, that she was able to before. So while your information is scrolling, and if anybody decides, that they just want to say thank you for, for this free knowledge, because it was free and people sometimes have to pay for this, hit that Cash App up right there. Hit her Cash App up and drop a little something in there just as a thank you. While your information is scrolling, before we go, one thing that I'll always like to do is leave on a positive note. So give us, some positive words or some words of encouragement for those who may be watching, as well as let us know, a little bit more about what you do, and like all the info, all of the services that you got going on.
Sure. Thanks, Roberta, so much for having me, by the way. This is amazing. I feel like so special. And just to hear how you viewed me from the beginning till now, it's like it just really warms my heart. So I appreciate you. As far as being in this space, like being a financial advisor, being a tax preparer, it's finance for me. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. And most importantly, I understand the importance of it to people. I'm not here to make you feel restricted, and certainly not here to tell you you're doing anything wrong. I'm here to see where you're starting on your journey and just help you get to that next level or to that next spot where you can feel good, where you can maybe have some security that you never had before, where you can feel like, wow, if not me, my next generation at least is going to be taken care of. And I think that's where we all should start. Just start being honest with ourselves and where we're at, and decide if I can make a change, and at least maybe not in my situation, but in the next generation situation, let me be the catalyst that gets that started. And so what I offer is just walking hand in hand through that forest, through that valley, up the mountaintop, and just making sure that you have all the resources that you need along the journey, because they're out here. The resources are out here. We just need to start talking about it and talking to each other and not making finance taboo. It's just money. Let's just do what we need to do with it so we can make more of it, so we could spend it together in appropriate ways, of course. But I would say my words of encouragement to anybody is start paying attention. Start preparing, start talking about it, start seeking advice. And I'm here. I'm available.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. again for your time and all that you've taught us so far. And to all of our viewers, thank you guys so much once again for tuning in to another Speaking Plain English episode. Until next time.